Welcome to the International Lash Masters podcast. Today we have a very special guest. She is actually one of our speakers for this year's Lash and Brow Conference that we are holding in Sydney in September. Welcome, Sharelle. How are you?
Thank you. I'm really good.
That's good. Now, you own Miss Lash Education, is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Miss Lash Education and Miss Lash the Studio.
And the studio. Okay, so this obviously separate businesses.
Yeah, they're kind of like a sister brand, but one is for clients and one is for students.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And how long have you been running those businesses for?
Miss Lash the Studio have been, that's been running for now 8 years, nearly. But Miss Lash the Studio, Miss Lash Education is my new baby. So that's my new education.
So have you just started educating recently, or you've just established the sister business for the education recently?
I would say it's been going for about a year. And then I think now we're starting to get a bit of momentum, and we're starting to kind of, you know, when you had just started and you're doing all the back end work, I felt like for a year I was doing the back end work of getting everything ready and getting everything organized, and now it's starting to like get momentum and get people in and do training and actually start to build the brand as an education brand.
And that's something a lot of business owners need to understand, especially heading into new ventures. Consistency is needed.
Oh my God.
Like not everyone's business pops off overnight like you see on TikTok. It's consistency, a lot of preparation in the back, and like trying to eliminate that imposter syndrome whilst you're doing it.
Oh God,
so confidence pretty much.
Yeah, and I think that's a lot of the work. No one really saw the back end work of what was going on behind the scenes of like this education business, and then one day it just goes bam, here we are. Yeah. And I think a lot of people, that's where they find that success, overnight success, when really there's been so much behind the scenes work.
Absolutely. And all the back end work, you don't really get acknowledged for it.
You don't get paid.
No, not at all. And that when I have my venting days and I speak to some of the girls, I'm like, with the conference and things like that, because majority of the year, it's a lot of planning and prepping and back end to make that one day look good. And I'm like, I should have just got a normal job. I should have just got a pay slip. But then it's like, no, it works. It pays off in the end when you put all that hard work in. But I think as a business owner, you get tested the most in those solitude moments when you are working on the back end, when you are putting things in place and making sure everything will function the way you want it to once it's released to the public or once the momentum starts.
Exactly. And that first like event of like, I feel like when you are putting in the work and when you are doing all that thing and then people start to see it, it's when people see it and then that momentum builds.
And the vision starts happening.
Yeah. And you're like, yes, it's coming alive.
It's such a good feeling, especially when you know other people are noticing what you're doing.
Yeah.
So like they understand what you wanted to put in place. It's not just in your head as an idea anymore.
Yeah.
But tell me a little bit about your you starting in beauty. Like, were you doing all different services and you've just specialized in what you do now?
I actually started in massage and like beauty therapy, which is so weird. But I started doing that first, did that for about 3 years. And then I got more into the cosmetic side, and that's where my passion ignited. I was like, I love doing like nails, tanning, like all that stuff that's not so like, you know, like chill.
and do to spa like stuff.
Boring.
Yeah.
I want a connection. I want to build something that's like, that client connection. And I think that's what brings into my clients' consultations and client, like building a loyal clientele, I think is so huge. And that's where that connection lies. So I did that for a little bit and then went into more lashes and brows. And at the start, I actually hated lashes. Hated lashes. So
like apply extensions?
Extensions, yeah.
I'm not really a fan anymore, to be brutally honest. I've done it since I was 21. I'm like, I'm 36. I'm like, that's enough. No more trends, please.
I feel like when you're in it for so long, it's like not a trend, but like I just don't love sitting there all the time. I think with lash lifting now and brows, there's so much creativity behind it. Whereas when you're doing lashes, it's just not one size fits all because it's so customizable, but it's the same kind of process. Like you're picking the lash up, putting it in glue, doing the same thing. Whereas like in lash lifting or brow lamination or brow tinting or brow dyeing, you're kind of doing something different every treatment.
But everyone's got their own groove. So there'd be some people out there who disagree with you.
Exactly.
And I've heard people like not disagree with you personally, but like everyone's got a different specialty, and that's what makes this industry so unique, and that's what makes everyone stand out. With you, I saw you online providing education in lash lifts, and I was enthralled in your content, and I'm like, I need her to speak at the conference. Like, I love that. And the thing I like about you is that you put yourself out there, and that's what I try to tell people in our community. It's like, if you want to be noticed, I can't sit there scrolling looking for you individuals, because there's a lot of people out there in the world that want to provide education or want to speak or want to have that exposure and put themselves forward as a business owner. You put yourself out there very well, and that's why you spoke yesterday at the Lash. Did you speak yesterday at Lash Summit and you judged? On Monday.
Sunday and Monday I judged at the Lash Summit.
You that was Browd's one, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it was incredible.
That's exactly right. And if you didn't put your motion and vision into place, who knows if that opportunity would have slipped by. So
you never know
well
who's
done
watching.
to you for doing that.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you. I think what I loved about what you said about the niche is really jumping into the niche of what you do, whether you educate, whether you do lashes, whether you do brows. I think it's so important. So my niche when it comes to education, gosh, there's millions of educators out there. But I think what's so important is how you niche down on that education.
Absolutely.
So my niche into lash lifting and lash lift education is breaking things down so it's so easily understood.
Yeah.
And a lot of us in the beauty industry, we see the big picture and we're like, oh my God, amazing, this huge picture. But how do we get there? We need the little steps. We need the broken down steps.
Yep, I agree.
And that's what makes it so easy. Whereas when we look at the big picture, we get overwhelmed and we're like, holy shit, this is a lot. But when we break it down, it's like, okay, let's go this bit. Let's go this bit.
And then you can stop along the way and go back and have a look and see, all right, have we got this down pat? Are you ready to move on to the next one?
Exactly.
Instead of just trying to get to the end result.
Exactly.
Because I think that when we try to, and like instinctively, most of us want to just get to the end result. We all do it. But when you do break it down and you have someone who is so experienced in helping us get through those I can't speak now. Breakthroughs, the breakdowns. We're not crashing
there is
out.
A few of those.
We're not crashing out. Breakthroughs. The end result is confidence as well, because you know your shit.
Yeah, exactly.
At the end of the day.
Exactly. I want you to think of it as well as like, you come over, I'll give you an analogy that is really easily understood, is say you come to my house and I cook you this beautiful steak. I put potato and broccoli and all these yummy veggies in, and it's a big juicy steak with garlic and rosemary and yummy stuff.
Yum. Are you making dinner?
Yum.
Can we go have dinner now?
But say you come over to my house, I make you this amazing meal. There is absolutely no chance you're going to put that whole thing in your mouth, every little bit of stuff that I've put on your plate. You're going to cut it up, you're going to go bit by bit, and you're going to eat it piece by piece, right? And that's how we're doing education, is we're breaking piece down by piece down.
I love this.
So easily understood.
I've never heard that analogy before, but I love it.
Yeah.
That is
you
fantastic.
You wouldn't shove a whole steak in your mouth and ingest it. You need to chew it. You need to take it piece by piece.
I love that. Yeah. That's fabulous. So do you just do in-person courses, or do you have online courses as well?
I do have my online, but that's getting updated at the moment because as we all know, the industry evolves so much.
Yes.
What I have on my page, I'm like, love, but I know I can make it better. Yeah. So I'm always trying to update it and trying to...
But you will never not have that feeling either.
I know.
And
I know.
As good as it is, it's so annoying at sometimes. You'll get to it like, yes, everything's sorted. And then you'll see someone do something like, oh, that's a great idea.
I got to put that in.
How can I turn it into something like my website, make it better?
Yeah.
So it's a always never-ending thing. But what are your thoughts on providing in-person versus online education?
I love in-person. Yeah. Me personally, I really feel like people get a lot more out of in-person training because I don't know about you, but I love being in a space with someone.
We like yapping.
Yeah, we love yapping. Yeah. We love the energy. We love the human connection. I've done a few courses in my time where I feel like I love the course, but I'm like, I have so many questions. I want to like ask you personally what they are. So online courses are good if you're overseas or it's somewhere that you can't really get to in person. But if you can do an in-person course, me personally, I feel like that's like the best thing ever because I feel like you get so much more out of it rather than just online. And I guess you can do it on your own time and whatever. Yeah. But I just love in person and I love connecting.
I prefer in person as well.
Yeah, I love connecting with people.
When you first started your business, were you you have a standalone salon now, don't you? Your own shop front?
Yeah.
When did you decide to take that leap and establish that?
Yeah. When I decided that was, I was in a nail salon, and that's when I was fully booked for like 3 months, 4 months ahead. And I was like, I need to expand.
Yeah.
I need to do something about this, because when I was by myself, I was capped out. So I was like, okay, I need to figure out what I want to do. Do I want to hire? Do I want to have a contractor? What do I want to do? So I got clear with that and figured out that I wanted a salon. And I was like, holy shit, that's huge. Found a salon space and then went from there.
Yep.
And opened up a commercial salon, and it was double the size of what I was in. And I was like shitting myself.
It's a big step.
It's a big step.
Mine's quite small, and it was.
How many square meters is this?
Oh, don't ask me. I don't know. I don't know. I just came in and liked it. I was like, yep, cool.
This will do. Perfect.
This will do. Like, so what was the process like you hiring your first employee?
That was a big, big step for me. I also had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah, no one does. It's
Like,
fine.
no one does. I was really, really winging it. And now that I've got all this experience with hiring and firing, I've learned a lot of lessons. And I think it's not really, I don't want to say failing, because it's never failing. You're just learning lessons, and you're figuring out who you are and who you want to be as a boss as well, or as a leader. But hiring, for me, I just thought, back at the time, I think I was like 22. Like, I was really young when I first hired.
How old are you now?
I'm 26, turning 27
You're a
this year.
baby.
I'm just a baby.
Oh, you're a baby.
Just a little baby.
You're doing so well.
Thank you.
Yeah, go on.
I love it. And then when I was, hiring, I was like, okay, I was asking questions like, do you have a car? Well, how long does it take you to do lashes? Like, dumb shit. Like, now my interview process is, how are you treating a client? What happens when a client comes and says a complaint? How are you treating that? I can train skill, but I can't train personality.
Correct.
So those are the things that I've now learned in the past, and now I'm pushing into my hiring process, I would say.
Yeah.
But back when I was not knowing what I was talking about or doing or how to hire, I was like, what?
Yeah, but like you said, it's not a mistake. It's a learning. I never think like I've trained myself in my mature old age. I used to get really hard on myself when I didn't know something or I'd make a mistake. And then I'm trying to tell myself, no, but if I didn't make that mistake, I wouldn't have fixed it and put myself back on track to not do it again in the future. So
we learn.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just a learning process. If you're good at everything all the time, you will never deviate from what you know. The more mistakes you make, the better you become. So it's never a mistake, and now look at you. So
Exactly.
I'm sure you're hiring great people now.
Oh, amazing people. And I have more of a criteria now, rather than like, do you have a car? How long, like how far do you live away? It's like, how long does it take you to do
Hey,
a
a
full
car's
set?
kind of important.
It is.
It is.
Yeah.
So with your staff and yourself, do you differentiate between what services you offer and they offer? Do they specialise in a particular service and you do other things, or do you all offer the same services? Like, how have you organised that?
At the moment, we're all offering the same thing. I've actually just taken myself off lash extensions.
Well done.
I haven't told anyone about it.
It's fantastic.
I haven't told anyone about it, and I don't really want to, because I don't want new clients booking in, loving what I do, but me hating what I'm doing. No, I'm not going to say that I hate it, because I don't, but I would much rather do a lash lift rather than lash extensions.
Correct. I'm the same, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's a lot better, a lot nicer, and it's like, I just love it. I'm more intrigued by it. A couple of years ago, maybe not, but now definitely.
That's totally fine though. Like, I know, like, I do the same. I've taken myself off, and my regulars are like, oh, I can't book with you on the booking system anymore. I'm like, yeah, because I don't want new clients. Because I think reflex for some people is that I want the owner. The owner is the best. The owner, I'm like, the owner is fucking tired, mate. Like, the girls I've got in the salon do a great job, and they love lash extensions.
And they're trained by you, so it's like, of course they're going to be amazing.
Yes, and they are younger. They always say, why do you always pick on us that we're younger? I'm not picking on them. They have the energy of a 20, like they're in their early 20s.
They've got
They've got the zest. They've got the pep in their step to, want to learn all the new trends and, be fanatical about content and making sure that level of, I don't know what it is, but I don't have that anymore.
It's
I had it when
like, you don't want to say passion, because you always have passion, but it's nearly like that like spark of like, that thing of like, Oh, you just
eagerness.
go. Yeah.
They're eager. Like Alana will come in when she's not even working and do things with me in the back end just because, what do you need? What can I learn?
Just because she wants to.
Correct. So the more that she does that, the more responsibilities I give her, the more I include her, the more I say, okay, this is what I would like you to do. Are you happy with that? Yeah. And she thrives.
People love that.
She absolutely thrives. So in my head, when a client says, oh, I want the owner, no, you're in good hands.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the
They've
day,
got you.
yeah. And I will be, I'm happier doing lash lifts too. And it makes me happier. It makes the girls happier. And I don't want to put 60% in a lash set. Not that I would apply them bad, but if you're not in the mood, if you're tired, you don't give it that 100%. I would rather the girls give 100%.
Because your spark's not there with lash extensions, whereas your spark is there with a lash lift. And you know that you're like, I'm going to try everything. It's just like a spark, I guess. I think that's the biggest part is we've been both doing lash extension. Have you been doing lash extensions for over 10 years? Like,
I was around when they had
you
the
get
little baggies and the isn't that what they're called? No, okay, I've gotten myself in trouble for this before. The little sandwich bag things and the jade stones and all that. So I was applying 0.3 lashes for a thick set. Yeah. So I've got to do, and I also find that when I was doing full days of clients in here, especially with the salon and the conferences and stuff, I felt like I've got a lot of other things to do. Like
you're running a business. You got shit to do.
Working in the business takes away from you working on the business. And I keep I think Lauren said it to me ages ago, but I just keep telling myself that. But I would subconsciously, not get angry, but agitated with myself thinking, I haven't even checked my emails yet. Oh my God, the accountant's going to message me. Oh my God, I'll do this when I get home. Like it doesn't end when I finish clients. And then I think a part of is it not social battery?
Yeah.
It does drain.
People
it drains, like by the end of the day, I'm more tired than if I sat on the computer all day. So I have to take that into consideration too. And I had to put my foot down and say, no, I've got to take Tuesday off is for this, Wednesdays for this, or, I've got to delegate the days, Yeah.
I think that's so important as well, is when you get fully booked. And this is something that I did back when I was back to back. I was so excited to get clients in and clients fully booked, but I would fully book myself. And then by the end of the day, like you were saying, I'm exhausted. I don't want to do emails. I don't want to do online bookings. I don't want to do...
And you fall behind.
And then you're more stressed and then you find yourself working more and it's like...
Burnout comes.
Why am I doing this?
Correct. And then any little thing will trigger you. So even things that wouldn't usually overwhelm you, it will eventually get to you. So I think that that's a really important thing as a business owner to consider. But when I want to talk about what we're discussing at the conference, what you're discussing at the conference, because that's really exciting.
This is going to be amazing. Everyone is going to love
this.
This
is such an underrated topic, and I'm so glad you've touched on it and that you're putting I saw content about you speaking it. Client consultations for lash lifts, in-depth consultations.
I used to overlook them completely.
I think a lot of people do.
A lot of people do, only because you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. And until you're told, I think the biggest thing for me was when I was guessing and when I was doing kind of I hope this works, hope this rod works. You know that one rod or shield that you have that you're like, yep, this will always work?
Yeah.
That needs to stop.
Yeah.
Because it's not one size fits all. And this is so important. And I think it's really the importance of even having a consultation with the client so that they know what you're talking about. They have the confidence in you to do the service. Because when you have the knowledge, you have the power. And your client's already got to trust you automatically.
Yeah.
So I think that's so important. And it's this one time I actually had a continuously... a makeup artist. She knew every little thing about this product, all the products that she had in her kit. She knew everything about them, how long they would stay on my face for, what it was good for, all this kind of stuff that would go down all these paths. And I was like, you really know your shit. And that was a really big thing of I'm not going to anyone else.
And you felt safe in her hands.
Felt safe because she knew what she was doing.
Yeah. Your lashes are great, by the way. Do you have bottom lashes?
Oh my God, so many people say this. They're mine.
Yeah, but have you curled them?
No.
They're just naturally like that.
Yeah.
Get out. That's all I'm looking at.
Thank you.
They're stunning. Okay, so in your expert opinion, what is the most important part of a lash lift consultation with a client?
Okay, I definitely think there's many parts to a lash lift consultation. So the first thing that I look at is their lid type. So your client's eyelid will actually show you what rod you need to use, like the style of rod, whether that's a round shield, whether it's a flat shield, whether it's a hybrid shield. Their eye shape and eye lid type will actually show you.
And that's the reel I found of you.
Yeah.
You were talking about having hooded eyes
Yeah.
and making sure that the curl went out further enough before it, so it didn't hit the lid. I was like, that's amazing.
It's genius.
It is genius.
It's genius. Because say you do a lift on a client that has a hooded eye, it's going to hit them in the back of the eye and annoy them. It's like that over curled look, and you're like, oh, it just doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
And you can feel it. Whereas if you're customizing it to them, makes the biggest of difference.
Yeah, amazing.
Honestly huge. So I look at that. I look at the lash growth, so whether their outer lashes are coming down or whether they're naturally lifted. Another thing that I look at is the lash porosity, because that's going to tell me if I'm leaving my solutions on for lower or higher solution timing. And then I also look at the length, which will determine the shield size.
Yeah.
So there's so many things.
There are so many things.
So many things. Also temperature of the room. That's a big one. I feel like that's a lot of people don't understand the temperature of the room.
I've learnt the hard way.
Yeah.
That air conditioning makes it so cold in here, and I was like, oh my God, it's affecting the lash lifts.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, it's got to go off. It's off. Turn it off.
I think what's a good part to know about is, like, if the room is cooler, do you put it on for higher or lower? So I think that's a good part to have a look at. I know, where is it? In my online course, I've broken it down to the temperature. If the room of the temperature is higher, I think you're leaving it on for lower.
Yeah. You got to leave it on for longer if it's cool. It's like the way I explain it to clients in lay terms is, if you're getting blonde peroxide put in your hair, well, I obviously, I'm due, but anyway, when I go to the hairdresser in summer, the processing time of my foils is a lot faster because of the heat.
True.
And in winter, we have to leave it on longer because of because it's cold.
Yeah, that's so true.
I explain to clients that, I say that to them. So I say, today we've got to leave it on a little bit longer, or, that's how I say it.
And I think relating that to your hair, because everyone knows about your hair.
Yeah.
Right? Everyone knows that you need treatments done on your hair. If you're getting bleach, you need this done and you need that done. And I think everyone already knows that. They've already got that instilled in their hair.
It's the easiest thing to explain and relate it back to hair. Yeah. Everyone gets it. Even when I put the nourishing serum on at the end of a lash lift, I say it's like looking after your hair. Yeah. It's like a conditioner. So I want to ask you, products wise, do you change your products and brands depending on the lash lift that you're providing a certain client? Like, do you find that some products work best on a certain type of client, or do you stick with one brand and just alter the timings and things like that?
Yeah, I stick with one brand. I love Inlay.
Yeah.
Another brand that comes close to that is Maximova. I don't know if you've heard of that, but that's a really good brand.
I use Inlay. I'm more of a lash tech girl.
Yeah,
so you're a lash lift girl. But I use Inlay. I love Inlay.
Yeah. I started on Elibana, but when I was kind of making more of a effort to educate myself and go into education and tell myself how to do this, I noticed I was becoming a little bit inconsistent. Whereas when I use Inlay or Maximova, I really found that I just got consistent results each time. And I was like, don't fix it if it's not broke. Yeah. So that was really, really cool to kind of look at as well. And I think the part of the science behind the brand of Inlay is so amazing too. Like, that, what Tatiana has done with Inlay is incredible. The fact that it's backed with science, like, it's a no-brainer, really. And you want the best for your clients as well. You want them to be, I think that's another thing going into aftercare as well, is like we were saying before with the hair, you wouldn't go and spend heaps of money on your hair and then use a shitty, mask, or not even use a mask. I think it's so important to add aftercare into that as well.
I mentioned that I first found you on social media. You appeared with your beautiful educational reels. What results have you seen, or changes in how your audience responds to your content with the education that you provide?
I think the best thing is with niching down, like I said before, with my niching down to education, is really breaking things down and posting that online. Let's be real, it's not how it used to be. Like, I was looking at my Instagram of, I think it was the studio page, that used to get like millions of views. That does not fly.
No.
That did not fly now.
And don't forget about static posts.
Yeah, no, that's gone. Yeah. They're not interactive. And I think because people are not engaged anymore, we really have to work hard to make sure that we're capturing someone's attention.
Correct.
because we're not on Instagram. We're just scrolling. We're just like mindlessly scrolling. You have to try and capture someone's attention because they're just on there scrolling. They're just scrolling, and you need to hook them within the first like 3 seconds or something like that.
Correct.
So I think it's really hard for us now. We really have to think outside of the box on content and what we actually put out there. But at the same time, I'm trying to add little bits of content, of like little snippets of breaking things down of a subject. Say it's lash lift consultations. What's something that you saw that you were like, oh my God, I love what you just did?
Choosing the shields.
Yeah. So like even just like, we're not talking about a whole lash lift. We're talking literally just about one subject, and we're taking that and we're posting it online, and I'm teaching. Basically what I'm doing is I'm recording myself in a consultation.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I'm just taking nuggets
yeah,
out.
and taking little bits out. And then that is like breadcrumbing.
I love that.
All these little things. But I'm also learning. Like half of me has no idea.
We all are. We all are. So what do you find attracts the most reactions and engagement? That's the word I'm looking for from your content.
Yeah, I think, that's a good question actually. What attracts people to come in? I think when you're giving out valuable information, they're going to be like, oh yeah, I want this. I want to keep following. I want this valuable information to keep coming.
Yeah.
And I think, like I was saying before, the little nuggets of like golden value stuff, it's like, oh, I took away something from that.
Yep.
If I can keep taking away more information, of course I want to keep following you.
Absolutely.
Whereas someone's just posting videos of them dancing, I'm like, doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Do you use stories? I do know what you mean. Do you use stories a lot to interact with your audience?
Yes.
You do?
I love stories. I love speaking on stories, and I love like the polls, talking on stories like that. I feel like it's really, I've kind of used stories to, connect with my audience and kind of be like, I want to hear from you. I want to speak to you. Like my DMs are always open. So when someone replies, I want to voice note them and be like, how can I help you?
Yeah. And I feel like when you use stories, you get to see the business owner be more themselves.
Mm-hmm. It's nearly like TikTok.
Yeah. I love that. But I like that. I like when people aren't so curated and polished all the time, and that's what I think video content is great. If you can strike a balance between showing your professionalism whilst being relatable and approachable. I think
relatable. That's a big one. I think being relatable is so important.
Absolutely. But even like with the conferences now, I find like some of the guests will message me after they've purchased a ticket, and they'll be like, I'm so scared to meet. I'm so looking forward, but I'm really scared to meet such and such. And I'm like, why?
We're literally people. I think what this big thing is, and I spoke with, do you know Vanessa Rawling? She's in, I don't know where it is, but it's in Victoria as well. I just trained her salon this morning in client relationships. And I think we were speaking about something that's along the lines of, if a client or a client comes through and they're an influencer, the second you find out they're an influencer, it's like they have to be like, oh my God, the service has to be amazing. The service has to be incredible because they've got all these, you put this like,
pedestal, put them on a pedestal.
Exactly, when really we should be treating everyone like that, and they're literally just a person.
Correct.
They've got, the only thing that's different about them is they've got 50,000 followers on Instagram, like that's, or 500,000 or whatever. They're literally just people, and it's the same as goes with speakers and judges. We're literally just people. Yeah. Like, I don't know, there's nothing special about us. Like,
but I do know what you mean, and that's what I like about having content that makes us relatable. Not us. Like I'm nobody.
Us.
Yeah, because they will interact, and I find that like when I post stories on the ILM page, people will write back in the stories like, "Oh, totally understand, girl. Like, don't stress." Like whatever they're saying, but they won't do that on a post. Well, I don't really give them. I'm not posting.
Private.
Yeah, that's it. It's more private. We can start conversations with people and then break that barrier, that non-existent barrier that some people think is there. So I really like that.
Yeah, and I think as well, like when you speak to someone online and you either swipe up to their story, no one else is in that conversation. It's literally just like me and you. If I was to swipe up, or if you were to swipe up with me, it's just our conversation.
And you build a rapport.
Yeah,
that's it.
And I think it's so. I think that is that connection, and even like talking to someone online that you've never met, and then you go and meet them and you're like, I know who who you are. We've
know,
already, like,
it's
I
so
feel like when I
good.
walked into your space, I was like, I already know who you are. And
Absolutely.
I've actually never met you.
I know, right?
Isn't that weird?
I feel like I know. I just realized that. Yeah, no, we know. We go way back. No, that's what I love. That's why I love doing the conferences.
Yeah.
I meet everyone, put a face to the name.
Yeah.
I actually know, like when I first started doing it, I started learning people by their business names because everyone, like I follow people from their business handles and I was like, oh shit, I forgot their name. Oh, that's salon. And then I was
Tell
like,
me your
then
name and your
the
business
more I
name.
hang out with people, the more I'm like, I know their name. But that's how I was remembering people by their
Yeah.
business name.
Exactly.
But it's so good. So what advice would you give a business owner who's struggling with their social media content at the moment?
Okay, the biggest thing that I used to struggle with was like perfectionism.
Yeah.
There is no perfect. You will never ever have a perfect post or a perfect like curated Instagram, TikTok. And let's be real, if you say you just post all your stuff, you're only going to get better and better. So like my content from however long ago when I used to post videos on Miss Lash Education, I'm like, ew, vomit. I would never make that ever again. But because you're doing that and you're building that consistency of making that content, you're only getting better. You're not going backwards.
Correct.
Right? So I think you just got to post the video and post. If it doesn't work, you learn from it and you change that and then you implement the new thing and then you build and build and build and build.
Just don't give up.
Don't give up. Oh my God, no. That's one thing that I haven't, that I've tried not to do is like there will be times, I'm not even going to lie, there will be times where you feel like you're like, fuck this.
Yes.
I am. Can we swear in here?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, cool.
Do you want me to do it so you feel better? It's got to come naturally. I can't just do it, but I usually swear a lot. I feel like I'm being on my best behavior today because we're just,
But there is times where you feel like you want to burn the salon down and you want to like.
I listed mine on Marketplace. It's on Marketplace. I just did. If someone wants to give me $100,000, take it. Like I don't even know because I had a bad day.
Yeah, you will have bad days and you will have times like that where you feel like I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
But you go back to your why, and I think what's really important when you are having those days is like, what is your why? Because then when you come back to your why, it's like, okay, this is why I'm doing this, and it kind of gets you through that bad day or that bad even week.
And
really.
you're allowed to take a kumbaya moment.
Oh yeah.
Like
Absolutely.
I would feel guilty if I took a me day. And now I actually I've said this to my partner a few times. I'm like I'm at capacity. Like
You can't
I
give.
actually say I'm at capacity. So that's when he knows, all right, she's done. But I tell myself that to know I'm not doing anything business related for the rest of the day. So I am okay with it. I have to literally tell myself I've made a decision that I'm not going to partake in any business activities for the rest of the day and start fresh tomorrow.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I will just keep going.
Exactly. And then what you put out is not as good if you did service yourself first. I think.
Fill up your own cup before that one.
Yeah, because if we're running on empty, we can't give any more. And then when we are running on empty, that we're not going to give everything, right? So I think we need to service ourselves first before we service other clients.
Correct.
And then that way our clients are getting the best of us rather than them getting like the half us.
Yeah, and they'll know when we're giving a hug. I always feel bad like when I get down on myself or I don't want to be. We have days when I just don't want to be around anybody, but we have no choice. So if we don't take that time out for ourselves, that's going to spew onto our clients and they're going to think that we're like an asshole or they're going to take it personally and we're not giving them the best service that they deserve.
Exactly.
So I think it's crucial to take some self-care time.
So important. And putting you first rather than putting everyone else first. I think it's so important. But you also need to learn that first. And I think until you learn that, you're only going to keep kicking and keep slogging and thinking this is hard and resistance.
Yeah.
And
so where is Miss Lash Education and Miss Lash Studio heading in the near future? Like what's plans for the next 12 to 24 months for your business?
That's a good question.
Thanks.
So heaps of education. Like I love doing one-on-one. The more I can do that, I want to travel around Australia first. I want to train salons. I want to train teams. I love that human connection and I love building people up and being like, you've got this. Like, when you know that something's not working in your business, I find getting someone in that knows that so well and getting them in and changing that is the biggest thing. And
you've got a spark in your eye when you talk about
my
this
God,
stuff.
I love it.
I just know you're going to be really good at it, but it's nice to see. Continue. Sorry.
I love it. I just love when I can share what I'm really good at and put that onto someone else and be like, here, I've got all the answers for you. And then having that stress alleviated by that person, it's just like, wow. Like that for me is just the biggest thing. And I think I had a epiphany, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
About a year and a half ago, 2 years now, that I've been put on this earth to help people. And that's how I do that, is through beauty services and lash extensions and lash lifts and all that. That's helping someone feel amazing about themselves. And then when I go into education, I'm helping people feel confident in what they are giving. I think that's so, so huge.
What star sign are you? Here we go. Let's go into this.
Let's go into this. I guess. Are you into it? Because I don't know.
I am.
Okay.
I am. I wasn't growing up, but the last few years when I've started to look inward and like heal whatever's going on in this head.
We've all got shit.
Yeah, I started to look into it. So I'm a Cancerian with a Sagittarius moon and a Pisces rising.
Stop.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about this, but I'm a...
I thought I took it as that you did. What star sign are you?
I'm a Cancer.
I thought that's why you said the helping people, and I thought, well, I'm the same. I don't know if I don't want to particularly do what you want to do, but I want to help people.
Yes, that's what you do. That's why you do.
Were you like a people pleaser? We're gonna get into a whole. We'll
do
into like 1 minute. Were you like a people pleaser growing up?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, same.
Easily.
And then you had to learn how to put boundaries in place and try and turn it into something like how can I help people without being taken advantage of? This is your thing.
Yes.
This is your thing. I've been on that journey. Like I'm still like sometimes people get.
I love that.
Yeah, but like I totally get it.
Yeah.
So that's why like with business, most of my businesses are like with people, because not that I can help everybody, but I like connection. I like, you know, and my friends will tell you, like, if I can help them in some capacity, I will always do that, like whatever. But yeah,
I love
it's my love language.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm so happy. And I completely said you had a spark when you were talking about it, and then now I get it.
I get it. It all makes sense.
I get it. Well, thank you very much for joining us today.
You're so welcome.
So excited to have you at our conference.
I can't wait.
So it's on the 21st of September at Daltone House, Hyde Park in Sydney, which is in the CBD. So if you haven't got your ticket yet, they are available on our website, internationallashmasters.com. That was a mouthful.
You're not going to want to miss this. I think what we were saying on the weekend is when these events come, we can't wrap our heads around people thinking, oh, I don't want to go to that, or I don't want to do this. Like, this is the biggest, I don't even know what the word is, but you're silly if you don't come, because it's something that you can take so many different parts from, because you have so many expertise, but the people that are speaking about it are niche down, and that is something that is so powerful, and you don't get this type of experience with anything else.
And you can walk, you can interact with the speakers after they've spoken on stage or before.
We won't buy.
No, everyone is more than happy for you to go up to them and ask them questions about their seminar or business tips, like even other people in the audience. Like, you can network, and just being in a room with like-minded people and those who maybe 10 steps in front of you, or 1 step in front of you, or 2 steps behind you, there's something to learn from everybody, or you could even meet someone that wants advice off yourself. So I always I'm an advocate for these type of things, especially for the lone wolf, because that's how I started. I don't know if you started.
It's very lonely. It's very lonely.
It is very lonely, but there is a lot of positivity at these events. Even if you take away just a couple of nuggets and apply them to your business, you walk away knowing a community of people that are there if you need them whatever the case is.
Yeah, and I'm not here to say that it isn't scary, because there is times where I'm like, holy shit, there's a lot of people in here. Yeah, it is scary, but you've got to get through that little bit to open up this world of joy, and you're like, whoa, why was I scared? This is just some little hurdle that I have to jump through.
It's just getting uncomfortable out of your comfort zone. We've all done it. We're all in that position. Just do it, and you're in safe hands. There is a very strong safety net.
Yeah,
you can find us. Yeah, we'll find you. Don't worry. We'll have a drink. I drink margaritas at the conferences. Find me and give me a drink, and we're all good. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Sharelle. I know it was a bit of a hike to get to the salon, but I appreciate you can have a look at the little space.
Thank you for having me. I honestly feel so honoured that you even asked me.
No, don't be silly. We love having you here. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for listening.
Yes, thank you for listening. We'll speak to you soon. Bye.
Bye.